Okay. So, here we are. The list that everybody wants to know about and are begging for. Oh, you guys hear me, Tree? Okay, so I think what I might do, I want you guys to tell me how loud is that, if it's like, not that one, but like this playlist, there's like a chill little lo-fi playlist, and it's like copyright free and stuff like that, and I figured instead of just me blabbering the whole entire time, you know, you guys can have a little something in the background too. So let me know as far as the volume, if it's too loud or if I need to turn it down, whatever. Little loud. Okay. How about there? Is that better? Yay, nay. Aptonaut S tier. Okay, so there isn't really like any, I don't know, like there isn't any like crazy kind of qualifications or anything that I have for like any of the actual ranking or what I use to rank the monsters and stuff. I mean, it's pretty much a totality of all of it. It's like, I don't know, it's like the impact that they've had on the game, their armor, their design, all that different stuff. And I mean, like, I really am. I'm gonna try and do, I don't know, somewhat of an unbiased list. Like, I'm gonna try to, but I mean, obviously you're gonna have that feed in some way or another. But I mean, it might even change as we're going through, but this is also going to be like ranking as far as Worldborn itself, not throwing in like Gen U and all the different stuff. We don't need to kind of compare those just yet. But yes, Fred, I am going to do a Gen U tier list at some point. Okay. Now, let me see. I'm going to start off, of course, with Jagras, the great Jagras. And see, if I was making this list prior to playing Gen U, then I might have put Jagras a little bit higher or something along the lines. But seeing as how I've played Gen U and gotten to experience like Great Macau and how great of a starter monster he is, I would say Jagras is probably going to go C. I'd have to put him C. Because, I mean, like, he's just meh. You know what I mean? Like, he isn't bad by any means. And then, you know, I would say even, like, the greatest Jagras, that whole thing coming into play as well, I feel like that helps him a little bit. But still, not enough to really, like, put him outside of, like, the meh. Yeah. I feel like C is pretty good for him. And then Kulu-Yaku. I feel like right off the bat, this is going to ruffle some people's feathers because I am actually going to put Kulu-Yaku in the B tier. Why I'm putting Kulu-Yaku in the B tier is mainly for this. That guaranteed stun that he has with the rock, I love that. I absolutely love it. And honestly, the design of the monster and just how he's such, like how he's such a dodo, and like, just unbelievably, he's cute. He's cute as hell, and just like how he's a bit of a doofus, I love it. I love the whole personality behind Kulu-Yaku, and like for a monster to have personality or to even say that, you know what I mean? I feel like they had to do a decent enough job to make me feel like I love this adorable goofball. And yeah, Kulu's definitely going in the B tier. That one I'm pretty firm on, just because he's cute, man. Like you can't deny that. And then we are going to go ahead and go with Pukei. And Pukei, I know, Echoes, you want me so bad to make an exclusive tier for Pukei, the baby tier, but you might be semi-happy because I am putting him in the B tier, because Pukei in design and as a monster, I absolutely love it. I absolutely love the design. I love everything about the poison spit, the tongue, everything. Like, they did really, really good with Pukei as far as like a lower tier monster and everything. I mean, it's not to the point where like I would put him up at an A or anything like that, but he really is. Like, he's a solid design. Even the fight itself, you know, having poison that early, if you sit there with your low rank gear and stuff and just don't take him seriously, I mean, yeah, like he could definitely take you out. And I mean, he wasn't a cakewalk by any means, but like he's B tier. Very much. I feel pretty solid in that one too. And then here, I feel like everybody knows what's going down, but Jyuratodus, and don't hate me for this, because I know that there's probably a lot of people that don't want me to do this, but Jyuratodus, he's an F, dude. Like, and I feel bad. I feel bad that he's an F, because there's just nothing redeemable about him. Like, with the design of him and the idea behind him, that it's fantastic. It's great. Pretty much every monster has a great background, whatever, you know, the point to them. But Jyuratodus, like, he just does not have anything going for him. Even his moves, everything like that, he gets stunned with like the drop of a feather. He was an absolute cakewalk. He was a joke. He really was just a joke. Like, he wasn't going to kill you even if you just like sat there and did absolutely nothing the entire time. You'd probably be able to come back like maybe an hour later or something, and somehow Jyuratodus would be dead. One of the small monsters or something would have killed him. So, yeah, I mean, there's just nothing redeemable about Jyuratodus. I hope and pray that they do something in Rise to the point where Jyuratodus will not be a joke. I hope that. Hey, what's up, Jesus? Now we are going to go with... Okay, see, now this is going to be another monster that it's not so much that they're... I don't know. I call them low tier and everything like that, but I mean, it's obviously that's something that's subjective too. But like Barioth, I put him in B. I love Barroth so much because the little tea kettle thing that he does when he charges, I love that. Not Barioth, my bad. Barroth, sorry. But, you know, the whole mud mechanic, see what Jyuratodus, how he just rolls around and flops in the mud and stuff, and then he'll spit or something, whatever. Does that every once in a while. That's lame. Like, Barroth actually shaking and stuff, flipping off the mud, that mechanic, it's really cool. Cracking his head is absolutely beyond satisfying. But even with him, it just feels like if they could have done something along the lines of this with like Jyuratodus, he wouldn't be a joke. And Barroth, the charge and all that stuff, like I said, the tea kettle thing coming off, I like it. And like, he's very what they were shooting for in his design with like the earth tones and all that stuff. I love it. I think they did a really good job with like such a low tier monster. And the only reason really I wouldn't even put him like higher and stuff, I don't like his armor. I think the design's pretty bleh, kind of gross. And even the weapons and stuff like that are kind of meh. And now we will go ahead and go with another one that I feel like people are probably going to disagree with in Tobi-Kadachi. I think Tobi-Kadachi is really cool. I love the design, the concept behind him, but it's a similar thing with like Jagras, that he was just kind of forgettable. And that is why he's also going to go with Jagras in the sea. Because I don't know. I just don't really remember fighting him much. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't. It's more so with him the challenge. And I told you guys were definitely going to. You guys were definitely going to disagree with me on this, but it's for many different reasons. It's for many different reasons, and that's true, Tetsu. Absolutely, the intro video is great. I get it, I understand it, but he was one of the ones that it was just so forgettable for me. Like, I don't know. I can't. Like, I just can't really put him higher. I would love to. The electric squirrel thing, and honestly, jumping off the tree. You know what? The more that I sit here and talk about it, I feel like putting him with Jagras would be a crime. That would be a crime. I would absolutely put him in B, because the more that I talk about it, and like how he climbs up on the trees and starts like shaking and like all the electric flying off of him, it is pretty cool. Barely B tier for me though. I will say, like, that's borderline. That's borderline B. The main reason being that I put Jagras in C, and I don't feel like Tobi would be along the lines of Jagras. I'll give you guys B. I can give you that, but nothing more. I can't give you more than that. And now we come to Anjanath. This for many people is like their first wall, because he had that little fire blast and all that. I can say for a fact that it carded me way more than I should have, because I didn't. I was still in the beginning of the game and everything, and I still wasn't taking him seriously. And he just a fire-breathing T-Rex is awesome. Design alone would get him, like, at the very least, like, very low ceiling, it would get him a C on design at least. He's that good that even if he didn't move or attack or anything like that, I still would have put him in C. But the fact that he does attack, he has his fire breath, all the stuff, I really, really think that I'm putting Anjanath B tier. And listen, B tier for Anjanath, such an early monster. I mean, that's pretty dope. And he's another monster, low tier monster, that they did extremely well. You never felt like it was unfair, anything like that, but they did do very good. They did very good with Anjanath, and I couldn't be happier with him, honestly. Now, Rathian, I feel pretty similarly with a lot of the Wraths, and honestly, Rathian, I would have to put in B tier. I mean, the lawnmower thing kind of ticks me off, but like, the Rathian and Rathalos families are a staple to the series and everything. You know, they deserve that, because just in design alone, these guys are awesome. They're great. But Rathian's lawnmower, it honestly, when I think about it, sometimes it like makes me want to put her in the C. But design, staple to the franchise, and honestly just the challenge of the fight itself. Like, obviously it's not super hard or anything, but you know, you can't just cakewalk it until you get later on in the game. So B tier for that. Rathalos. Now, Rathalos, I will be straight up honest. I like Rathian a lot more than I do Rathalos. And I feel like everybody already knows why. You know what I mean? Rathalos is such an annoying fight. I don't understand why they thought it was going to be enjoyable to like have to like flash bomb spam things or anything like that, but you still have to go off of everything else. The design, Rathalos as a monster looks absolutely awesome. That's undeniable. And you know, having thought about it, We have Rathian in the B tier, but we're definitely not putting Rathalos in there. We're putting him in C. He's C. He's easily C tier because, like, his fight is so annoying sometimes, and especially now that I've gotten to play, like, previous games, so annoying. Ridiculously annoying. But that's the thing, too, is, like, Gen U, low rank and stuff, you're, like, farming for that Rathalos gear, and you know how it goes. You know how it goes. Alright, who are we gonna do next? I kind of had a bit of an order that I wanted to try and stick to. Okay, this is gonna be my first D tier. This is gonna be my first D tier. Shout out Pixel, what up, what up? But this is gonna be my first D tier, and honestly, I can't even say its name. I'm not gonna try to. So if you want to try and help me pronounce it, you can go ahead. But I'm still not gonna say it. Flashy Boy, he gets a D for me, man. Flashy Boy gives me it's another one of those things with Gyro that it's just like forgettable. Outside of the flashes and stuff, just boring. Like when the only thing that you have, okay, so basically you take Gypsaros and take away its flash, or take away everything except for its flash. Like, you don't really have anything else. I really can't put him in anything higher than the D tier. And he's not even, like, really a cute monster or anything. You know, I can't even give him, like, a dodo treatment to where I put him up higher for being, like, cute or anything. I see you guys talking about it. Like, Alpha, I know you're saying he's cute and stuff, but for me, I mean, he just looks like a boring, meh kind of monster that I absolutely forgot about. And the only reasons that I do remember him is when he literally comes in and flashes. Like, that's it. That's it. I don't know. He's just annoying to me. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, but he's just too annoying for me. Now, I'm going to follow that up with another D tier. This one also is because of annoyance. It's just the fight itself is so ridiculously annoying, and I don't understand like what they were kind of thinking as far as the concept of it. The design of the monster is kind of cool and whatnot. The thought process behind it, I get it. D tier. Peo just, oh god. I remember wanting to fight him just on the sheer fact because I wanted to kill him over and over and over again. Wasn't his gear, wasn't materials, anything like that. Having him flying up around, inflating, and then doing his little tail swipes and stuff like that. It just wasn't. Rat Boy just, I don't even know if there's anything good that I can really say about it. I mean, I get what they were kind of going for, in a sense. His roar is annoying as hell. Like, nah. I just really can't. I can't do much with him because I don't think that I've ever fought him before and actually enjoyed it in any sense. Like, not even close. Not even close. Next, and I promise you, I am not super pessimistic or anything like that, but we're going to go with another D rank. And that D rank is going to be going to Great Girros. I really feel bad for him too. And it's similar to like Jyuratodus. There's just not a lot to him. There's not a lot to Great Girros. Like, they needed to give him more. They really needed to give him more. It's a cool concept. It really is. And like his colors and everything, I love it. I like how he is and how he like interacts in the Rotten Vale, and I feel like it's a great fit for that. But he was just way too ridiculously easy. The whole like body flop thing, I get it, but it's like when you have that as something in your moveset, they're pretty much saying like, okay, we don't know what to do. Just kind of throw yourself at the hunter and hope that you hit. He needs, if he ever is to like appear in another Monster Hunter game, he really needs to be reworked or given something extra, because I just don't. He's another one that's just so forgettable. He is really, really forgettable. And honestly, like Tetsu, see, you're talking about like how he has guts for going against Glavenus. And honestly, maybe that's why he's D tier and not F tier. But I will say, I just forgot about him. Like, that's the biggest thing about him, is he's just so forgettable. So forgettable. Now, let us... Which one do I want to do next? Trying to kind of keep it in somewhat of an order, but... I'm thinking we're going to go ahead and go... Let's go with Legiana. Legiana. Now, this is me throwing away my bias. I am absolutely throwing away my bias on this one because, like, I hate Legiana. I hate fighting it. Don't really think it's that fun. You know what I mean? It's another one of those fly boys that I'm not sure that I really... I don't think I did. I don't think I ever really enjoyed fighting Legiana. But if we're talking about design Legiana is absolutely awesome. They did great in designing the monster. The ice element itself, I really enjoy that. So having like a cool ice monster is... That's cool. That's cool. But just as far as like the fight itself, I'm not too sure that I really enjoyed it much. And then the armor, you know, whether it's like the actual usefulness of the armor, I don't really like... I don't see anything that was too great about it, mainly because I wasn't a bow user either. You know what I mean? So, like, the design of the armor, though, I really did like it. I really did like that. I thought it looked cool, but yeah, just in totality, I feel like pretty lower tier B, but Legiana definitely doesn't deserve to be in C tier, but definitely does not deserve to be like in A tier. I wouldn't say that. Odogaron. Odogaron is one of the monsters that I would say, like, design-wise and look and just the monster itself, I absolutely adore Odogaron. I think he's a fantastic fit in the Rotten Vale. And just the way that he interacts, and then the fact that, like, what was he carrying? Was he carrying a Legiana in his video and, like, his intro and whatnot? Was he was carrying, like, a Legiana or something like that, wasn't he, in his mouth? I can't remember exactly what it was. But, in saying that, his fight, the first time experiencing Odogaron's fight and actually getting to fight him, one of my best experiences in Monster Hunter. It's fair, it's fast, it's really, really, really high pace, just the energy is just off the charts, and you really don't feel like it's unfair in any way, even though, like, I'm pretty sure I failed out a good couple times with Odogaron just for being way too aggressive, and he was one of the monsters that really showed me how to play Monster Hunter and what the right way was to play Monster Hunter. Like, I know prior to that, I was super aggressive and, like, just didn't even care to learn the monster's moves and this and that. Like, I just was wailing on him, and if I could just get as many hits in as I can, eventually I'll just down them before they down me. And then Odogaron came in and taught me how to play Monster Hunter. He is absolutely A tier. Very, very high A tier. It's his armor is awesome. Everything about this Red Dog Clifford, exactly what Mud kept saying. Everything about this boy is just absolutely dope. He is a very cool monster, and he is close, very close to S tier. And honestly, he's, as far as like world, like base world goes, he's very much one of my favorites. And that's not going to change anytime soon. Like, I could sit here and think about it for days and days and days, and I would still love Odogaron more than anything. Now, next one, he's grown on me so much. The next one grew on me, and I feel like people are going to think he might be a little bit too high when I put him up here. But he was also one, he was also a monster. He was one that kind of taught me patience as well, in the same sense as Odogaron, and to not be so hyper aggressive. But I am going to be putting Diablos in A tier. I get it. I get why people dislike Diablos. I understand. But for me, I can't put Diablos anything lower than an A, because he's a fun fight. I love it. He doesn't go underground too much or anything like that, you know, and when he hits you, he smacks you, dude. Like, he smacks you. He's one of the first monsters that I faced too, that it was like, okay, this dude hits like a truck, so you really need to dodge, man. And that's what I was talking about as far as teaching me to be patient and not hyper aggressive. And then something that goes along with both of these guys, Odogaron and Diablos, their roars, absolute top tier. Absolute top tier roars. Like, Odogaron's, that hiss and his howl, like, he's got that, like, wolf dog howl, but then, like, there's that hiss. Like, he has a smoker's cough or something like that in it, too. And it's fantastic. So, yeah. Diablos, I do. I think that he's A tier. And he's, honestly, to me, getting to the point where he's, like, kind of like Rathalos territory as far as, like, people recognizing Diablos and, like, him being a staple to the franchise, almost. Because I think he's been around just as long or something, right? Yeah, I think he has. Now, next one. Oh, only S from here, but I want to do Odogaron. Fact, his scaly muscles have depictions of flame in Japanese watercolor painting. He has an inner flame when mad, and his weapons have hidden fire to show it. Dude, that's so... Ari, you are dope with these facts. And you guys are right, too. I need to do Radobaan. And Radobaan, he's definitely going to see. And I like the design of Radobaan. And if we're talking about, like, between him and Uragaan, I definitely prefer the design of Radobaan. But, like, breaking his stuff, and like breaking Radobaan's spikes and all that stuff off its legs and cutting its tail, whatever it is, his head, all that stuff, it feels so good to break. And he definitely is. He is definitely better than Uragaan. Uragaan, I mean, spoiler alert, he's just pretty much trash. So, I mean, like, as far as that goes, I do like Radobaan. I really do. And I don't want to say that he's, like, fun, because he's kind of not. But the thing that he gets, his little side spin and whatnot, that definitely puts him above the Uragaan status. And, you know, speaking of status, like the sleep status, that's cool. I always love sleep status, and even if it's in monsters, like, I like that too. But yeah, he's definitely going C. And then, yeah, we can just go ahead and do Uragaan. Yeah, he's going D. Like, I can't put him in F so much, because he is challenging to the point where he's another one that if you, like, don't take him seriously, he very well could knock you out. And, like, that big old slam and everything like that. It's just... Uragan's not great. His design, I think he's beyond ugly. I don't think the design is great. And then his stupid little tail swipe where he throws out the bombs and stuff. I can't do it. And the blast gas or whatever that comes out, you throw in all, like, the most annoying things possible, and Like, honestly, I'm talking to myself. He's an F. Uragan's an F. And it's not even for the reasons that, like, Jyuratodus is. Uragan's just bad. Like, his design's awful. The armor, I never was a fan of that. The only thing that it really had going for it was the whole guard up thing. But all of his attacks are just awful. Like, they thought, like, okay, so what's all of the most annoying attacks that we can do is, and let's, like, throw it together into one monster. I can't. Yeah, like, I can't do this. I can't have Uragaan is very much canceled lifted. Very much canceled. I can't stand Uragaan. And if you like Uragaan, or if he's like your favorite or something, I apologize. I don't see how that would be the case with anybody, but I don't know. I'm not good with Uragaan. And now this one is going to... this one's going to kind of like ruffle some feathers as well. But Zorah, I got to put Zorah in the F. I can't. Like, that fight was so boring. So boring. Zorah is a lot like Jyuratodus in the fact that he's an F because he just needs reworked, you know? Everybody seems to be agreeing now. I didn't know how that was going to go. I didn't know how that one was going to go, but I absolutely have a disdain for Zorah. Zorah is so bad. Cannon spam, all that stuff. Everything about it was so bad. Oh my god, Gold, did you just say knowing the team spent a year on Zorah is so bad? Oh, no. That's sad. I wish there was a lower tier that I could put him in then. If that took him a year, I would literally put him below an F. Alright, listen, we're just gonna, like, technically pretend that there's another tier below this, and we're putting Zorah in that. Below that. If they spent a year on Zorah, that's sad as hell. That is so sad. Because there was nothing fun about it. There was nothing memorable about it. Like, what were they hoping for that people were gonna latch onto? Oh, Derpy, I don't want to make he doesn't even deserve that. Doesn't even deserve the time to make another tier. We're moving on. Zorah, you're canceled. And we're going to go to Dodo. Now, if you want to talk about something being cute, like how you guys were getting mad at me about Flashy Boy and saying that he was cute, Dodogama is adorable. Dodogama is so adorable. And the mechanic of him eating up the rocks and stuff like that and shooting them out. And see, that's the thing is, every single time that Dodo, listen, I kid you not, this little chody boy, every single time he came into my fight, he helped me. Every single time that he has come in and invaded one of my hunts, he has attacked the other monster and, like, shot magma bombs at them. So maybe it's a personal thing for me too. But yeah, honestly, going to it, like his mechanic of eating up the rocks, all that stuff, his design and how cute he is and everything, I'm definitely putting Dodo B tier. It's like baby tier as well. But Dodo, I can't let my personal bias, like, take him too far, because I'm just willingly admitting it, that he is adorable and that enough for me. I love him. But, like, he definitely, I can't even, Bella, I can't even lie. He is overrated, but in saying that, I still actually do like the core of Dodogama. And his, with like the other monsters like Flashy Boy and whatnot, really didn't have anything to him, but at least like his magma rock shots are like damaging, you know what I mean, and can actually deal like a decent bit of damage and like set you on fire and this and that. Like, at least he has something to him. Flashy Boy, not so much. He just, I don't even know. I still don't even know what the point is of Flashy Boy. Okay, Uh, where's he at? There you are. Lavasioth. Now, I know that there's going to be a lot of people that want me to put, like, Lavasioth directly into the F tier, and I can't do that. I really can't, because he is going D. He's going D. He's going D. He's not F tier. He really isn't. And the fact that he is actually, like, somewhat, I don't want to say, like, powerful, but, you know, he can deal damage, he can hold his own and whatnot, and the hardened armor, so he can survive. But he's not, he's like an upgraded version of Jyuratodus. He is actually worth fighting. You know, like, you don't feel brain dead when you're fighting him. You don't feel like you want to go to sleep while you're fighting him. And that's the thing, man. It's like, he's an upgraded version of Jyuratodus. Not far at all as far as an upgrade, but I mean, his annoying hip checks and stuff like that, of course. But, like, playing him in Gen U, I feel like Worldborn is a little bit better as far as the fight goes. I feel like in Gen U it was really bad. Gen U, I feel like Lavasioth was really, really, really bad. I thought Worldborn, they upgraded the fight and made it to where, I don't know, it was still pretty much forgettable for me, but, like, the only reason that I somewhat remembered it was that he was annoying as hell. Like, believe me, guys, he is borderline F. He is borderline F. He's really sitting close, but I can't put him in the same tier as Jyuratodus. You know, I can't. Because he's not. He's not as bad as Jyuratodus. He might be more annoying, but yeah. Now, Azure Rathalos. D. Hated it. Hated the fight. Thought it was annoying as hell. Every single time that I had to fight him, I cringe because it's lame. It's lame. Blue sucks. He's awful. He's very bad. He's like, all right, so what can we do to make Rathalos worse? What can we do to make the Rathalos fight worse? All right, Azure Rathalos. Boom. Literally takes everything that's bad about Rathalos and bumps it up a tier. So you get to go down a tier. Because even though the fact that, like, a blue Rathalos, he looks cool. Like, his design and everything, I still prefer, like, the regular Rathalos, but the blue is cool. I liked it, and I was actually, like, somewhat excited to fight him for the first time, because I thought maybe, just maybe, this was them taking the time to fix Rathalos. But no, that of course was not the case, and they just made a worse Rathalos fight. Moving on from that trash heap, we come to Bazel. Now, this bad boy, Bazel, everybody remembers him, and everybody remembers the first time that they were in a fight, they were doing something, whatever, Elder's Recess, all that stuff. They remember the first time that he went and interrupted their hunt. He is such an awesome monster. His design is fantastic. His roar is honestly probably top 5. I mean, like, I'm just saying that now in the heat of the moment, but okay, maybe top 10. Top 10. Seriously, is so perfect. And when you hear the music coming on, you just sit there and look around and are like, what the hell is going on? But I think that people are going to be pretty satisfied with this ranking. The Flying Bomber, the Mad Bomber, is going into A tier. A tier. Absolutely. And that, I feel very solid in putting him in A tier. I really do. I feel very, very, very comfortable putting him in A tier, just in totality of everything. And his armor, I think his armor looks awesome. I really do. I think his armor looks awesome. Even the skills and stuff like that, they weren't bad at all. But like Basil, I feel very, very solid in putting him at A. I know that he's one that like everybody is very high on. And honestly, if I would have put him into S tier, I feel like a lot of people would have been like, okay, yeah, I mean, I can get that. It sounds about fair. And that's when you know that you have a really solid monster, is when everybody would be able to agree as far as like the S tier or whatever it might be. What do we want to do next? 2 bucks for faking me out. His wiki is funny. Listen, I get it. I get it. He very well, like, if somebody put him in S tier in one of their rankings, I would get it. I wouldn't, like, fight it or anything like that. I would understand it. Now, we come to something that I think you guys will agree with me on. I think. Black Diablos. No. C. And the only reason that I have Black Diablos as a C is that a Black Diablos in design is absolutely awesome. Like, a Black Diablos is dope as hell. Like, if he wasn't, his color scheme and all that stuff, if that didn't come into play, I would probably put him in, like, D or something like that. Oh, God. The fight is atrocious. The fight is absolutely, absolutely atrocious. Like, when Black Diablos, it's a Diablos in Heat, she, okay, let me get that right. She, Black Diablos, when she gets enraged, it is one of the worst things in Monster Hunter, period. One of the worst things ever. Because literally, it's just dig after dig after dig after dig after dig. And it's awful. See, and like, that's what saves her. That's what saves her, is that Black Diablos looks so freaking cool. Like, extremely cool. And that's what saves her. But the burrowing into, like, the ground and whatnot, no. Like, I get that there's so many different ways to get her up from out of the ground. And, like, I'm a hunting horn player, so, like, I've had horns with Sonic Wave. Those are pretty bunk. But, I mean, like, I know that there's plenty of different ways to get her out from the ground. No. Don't even. Just don't. Keeps digging underground and digging, and I don't even get to actually, like, fight her. I'm good. I'm good. Moving on, though. We move on to Kirin. Now, I say that this one is going to be very polarizing. I think that even in the chat, look at this. Look at this already. We have A, S, F, B, F, B. Okay, so Kirin, for me, the concept of Kirin, for me alone, is an A tier. The electric pony boy, I love it. I love the fact that he is like an elder dragon. You have all these hulking beasts that are, you know what I mean? You have like your Fatalis, your Latreon, Teostra, Nergigante, this and that. And then you just have this little nuclear bomb powerhouse electric pony. That alone for me is an A tier. Now, as far as the fight goes, and the hardening of Kirin's skin and, you know, bouncing off the attack, all that stuff, I completely understand. But Kirin is just so unique that the fight alone can't really drag Kirin down for me. It does a little bit. It does kind of bring it down a little bit for me, Kirin's going B tier. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of people that are wanting me to go like C, D, F in that range. I absolutely can't. I can't do that. I just can't. I can't put him in these lower tiers. It's just how it has to be. It has to be. Kirin has to be B tier because the fact that he is so different from all the other Elder Dragons and so unique, and the design and the idea of him alone is boom. Like that's A tier alone. But then the fight itself, I understand people's gripe with it, but I was a hunting horn user, like I said, so I didn't really have to worry about bouncing and stuff. Like, sorry guys. Sorry, but he's going B. And it's pretty firm. That B is pretty firm. Like, that's not one that you'd be able to talk me down from. I feel 100% confident in putting Kirin in that ranking. Okay, so I was kind of waiting to do some of the other ones, but Pink Rathian, I completely forgot to even rank her, but like, it's B tier. You know, there nothing too great or anything like that. You know, like as far as like differences from Rathian and stuff like that, Pink Rathian, I mean, it's like B. It's just, it is what it is. You know, the whole color design change and whatnot is cool, but like nothing enough to like bump it up to A, and nothing bad enough that I would say to put in C. It's like, I mean, there's no difference really. Like you could pretty much just slap a coat of paint on them and there you go. It's a tougher fight, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, but outside of like what makes it tougher, not too much. I mean, yeah, I'd just say B. I'd say B. Now, this one is very much close. This one, Nergi, he is going A tier. Nergigante is going A tier. And honestly, Nergi is very close to S tier. He's one of the ones that is like, he's probably like one of the ones that's like closest to getting into S, but he just didn't come with that oomph that like something like a Rune or Nergigante or something came with. And his introduction and everything was really cool too, as far as like the whole Zorah thing. Like, it was really cool. I enjoyed it, and this is not me trying to downgrade him in any way, but like, he's a very high A tier. I do. I see a lot of people talking about S. He's a very high A tier. His fight was fun at first, and even like doing it repeatedly or anything like that, you know, coming back and fighting him, it was still fun. But I do think that he was a little bit too easy to like throw him all the way into S tier. But armor, weapons, everything like that in totality, the design of Nergigante as a monster is easily one of my favorites in Monster Hunter, period. And I've gone through and looked at stuff that even the games that I haven't played, and looked at some of the other monsters and whatnot, and he is still by far one of my favorites. And yeah, that's definitely something that won't change either. Teostra. Now, this is one that if we're talking about like the changes that they've gone through in a game, Teostra got a very good, I don't think it would be like a rework so much, but they just kind of like tweak things to where it benefited Teostra greatly. Teostra's going A tier. I love the fight. I love his mechanics. The blast blight and everything like that, it's not implemented in a way that is ridiculous or anything like that. Solid fight. I don't think it was like overly challenging, but it was still to the point where like you had fun doing it. And honestly, the design of Teostra, just, you know, the fire lion, that in itself is an extremely cool design. And I never, even to this day, like even when I'm doing the event arc or the event tempered Teostra in like my streams and stuff, I still have fun fighting him. I still really enjoy fighting him. And honestly, with him, it might be just the level of challenge of his fight might be kind of like keeping him from the S tier. But it was solid. This is another one that I feel very solid as far as putting him in A rank. And I do. I really think that it's as far as like his challenge. His challenge is what kind of keeps him from going there. Now, we are about to do another Elder Dragon. And, well, I feel like this is going to... I know this is going to hurt a couple people's feelings. But Kushala Daora, C. I have to. I'm sorry. He's C, man. He is. The fight and stuff like that, the mechanics and everything, he's alright. You know what I mean? Like, he's decent. And as far as his design and everything like that, it just seems like pretty generic as far as like a dragon goes. So it's not even like that can really like take him further or anything like that. He is a beautiful dragon, I agree, but it's just not enough to overcome like the tornadoes, the wind aura and stuff like that. If they would have kept it more to where like the poison would die down his stuff instead of having to use things like Elder Seal and whatnot, I feel like it would have been a less annoying fight. But just like the wind aura, the tornadoes, the fight is terrible. And to be honest, I mean, like the sheen, the metallic dragon, it is cool. But like as far as his fight, that is what's keeping him down at C. Because if his fight wasn't so bad, he'd be like a AB kind of tier. It's just that fight, dude. Like, it's bad. It is very, very bad. And it's boring, too. Like, you don't even get to, like, go beyond that and do anything too fun because the fight in itself, it's unbearable at times. Leshen. Leshen is an F. I did not have fun with Leshen at all. I thought the only thing that I enjoy about Leshen is that it was part of The Witcher, and that was cool because like the whole idea of like having him come over into the Monster Hunter world and like the blending of The Witcher and Monster Hunter, that's really cool. And I enjoyed the quest and stuff, and Geralt is one of my favorite characters in video games, period. But Leshen's just lame. I don't know. I can't really say anything good about Leshen. It really wasn't. I loved everything about the quest and like the way that Geralt came over and all that stuff. I feel like they blended it really well, but I don't know. Bella, you haven't done the Witcher quest? Bella, you need to get on that immediately. Because honestly, just for like the cutscenes alone and everything like that, I loved it. I really loved it. And just the way that Geralt interacts with everybody in Monster Hunter, and they did. They blended it very well. Ancient Leshen, oh my god, F. Ancient Leshen, it was they were just lame, man. I really just no, man. Like I just couldn't. I couldn't with these guys. It wasn't fun. I didn't enjoy it at all. I'm pretty sure it was like a one-off kind of thing for me. Is like I I just did not. I did not like. I did not like it. Behemoth. As far as Behemoth goes, we're just gonna kind of like put Behemoth and Extremoth together and kind of average out their thing. Regular Behemoth, I didn't mind too much. I thought it was kind of cool as like an event thing to throw in there and whatnot. Extremoth was awful. Extremoth was absolutely awful. I'm not going to put it in like D tier. I'm going to put him in D tier because regular Behemoth was not that bad as far as like the one-off thing. Extremoth was awful. Extremoth was bad. It was very, 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 very bad. And like, it was one of those things that I more so just did because it was like, I mean, it was tough. It was like a challenge, but that was it. Like, the only reason that I did it was literally because of like how tough people were talking about how it was. And just the fact that it was just so out of the realm of how Monster Hunter usually worked. And I feel like it was a little too forced, but he is just bad. Like, it was lame. Extremoth was just really bad. When I'm like doing a quest or fighting a monster just because of how really bad the challenge balance was, just so I could experience that's how I know I'm just not going to love it. And then like the Draken armor, I know that's not how you pronounce it in any way, but the meta and stuff like that, with it just destroyed it. You know, with that armor, I don't like what it did to the meta, and everything about it really just, I just can't. I just can't with that boy. I really can't. Now, we make our way to JoJo. Debbie JoJo. Boom. You already know. You already know. Devil Joe's fantastic. Pickle is very good. Pickle is very, very, very good. And honestly, he's another one, and it's funny that he's right beside Teostra. I feel like in Gen U, if I was doing like the Gen U Devil Joe, I don't want to give that away or spoil it, but I don't know if I would rank him as high if we're talking like Gen U, but this one in like Worldborn, New World Devil Joe, it's fun. It's fun, it's challenging. The design of the monster period and the concept of Devil Joe is just absolutely fantastic. And I feel like they kind of like tweaked him enough as far from like Gen U to Worldborn. I feel like they tweaked him just enough to make him less spammy, but still kept the challenge and the aggressiveness. And that's awesome. Because he was fun. Devil Joe in Worldborn is just an absolute blast. He is another one that's very, very solid A tier. And, I mean, like, he's very close. He's close. Like, he's super, super close to an S. He's very high A tier. Vaal Hazak. Vaal Hazak, A tier. Vaal Hazak for me is an easy A tier as well. I feel like he's definitely not, you know, like not Nergigante, but more like Devil Joe. He's not like Devil Joe A tier, but uniqueness as far as like an Elder Dragon, Vaal Hazak, I love it. And I know that a lot of people with like Vaal Hazak, they're just salty that you have to like put on effluvia resistance and stuff. Like, I get it, whatever, you can cry about it all you want, but I really like his design and just the concept, the decaying, and how representative of the Rotten Vale he is. I love everything about Vaal Hazak. I had fun fighting him. He's definitely one that's more of like the lower tier A, I would say, more like an A-, something like that. But yeah, the design of it alone, fantastic. And his whistle roar, his roar is so unique, so cool. I love his roar, that little whistle and hiss. I absolutely love that. Vaal Hazak for me is another one of those ones that he's definitely A tier. Like I said, probably kind of lower A tier, but, you know, I mean, A tier nonetheless. Now, this boy Xeno'jiiva. Oh, Xeno. Oh, Xeno'jiiva. There's a lot of factors that really go into this one, but, like, Xeno'jiiva is one of the ones that's, like, the fight really wasn't that bad as far as, like, you know, being too hard or anything, but it wasn't too easy. So, like, fight, it wasn't too bad. The design of Xeno'jiiva, for me, is a little too... He's a little too intergalactic, alien-like for me, especially in a Monster Hunter setting. I feel like him, of any monster that, like, I've really come in contact with in the Monster Hunter series, he feels like the most that is, like, yes, he's unique. He just feels out of place. He feels really out of place for me. And then you get to the Arc-Tempered fight, and, oh, no, it just wasn't doing it for me. But even though he has that intergalactic alien look to me and it feels out of place in Monster Hunter, I still do enjoy it. So I probably have to put Xeno in the C. I'd have to put Xeno in the C tier. Because he just looks a little too alien-esque for me as far as, like, his look goes. And I like it, but as far as his look and the whole intergalactic thing, it just feels out of place to me, and I'm just not meh. Xeno'jiiva, the weapons also probably leave a bad taste in my mouth too, since they got, like, the bone treatment and whatnot. It's like the end game monster, like, whatever you want to call it, not like the end game monster, but like the boss, and you're gonna do his weapons like that? Like, what? The weapons were so bad. So bad. But yeah. I would say Xeno, with all things considered, I'd pretty much average him out at C. And listen, when I say him, her, and stuff like that, I'm not trying to actually, like, classify the monster's gender and stuff like that, because I just, you know what I mean? I'm just saying this and that. But next, I want to go ahead and do Kulve. I definitely want to do Kulve because this is another one that, like, as far as meta changes go and stuff like that, it wasn't too bad. You know what I mean? Especially for where we fought Kulve at. And the siege itself, I feel like if they could do a siege and make it fun, Kulve Taroth was a good way of doing a siege. She was a good siege. In my eyes, she was a good siege. As far as Kulve as a monster itself, I think it's pretty cool too. And, you know, eventually breaking off, like, the, you know, all the whatnot, breaking off her gold parts and, you know, revealing Kulve as to what she is. I think that was all very cool too, and I like her design. I think she definitely got the better treatment with, like, master rank. And the fight itself is very fun. I was not a huge fan of, like, chasing her down at first. After doing it the first couple times, then I was just like, okay, man, this is kind of tedious. But once we got to the point where it was just us fighting her, period, then that's when I started to come around. But as far as, like, and it's probably something that also left a bad taste in my mouth, but having to farm her over and over and over and over, like, I don't know. The siege itself wasn't so great in the beginning, like, before she got, like, the master rank treatment and whatnot. But then once we got there, just being able to fight her and do those stages, I liked a lot. We're gonna have to go B with Kulve. And the only thing is just the freaking having to over and over and over and over again just to get the weapons that I wanted. It was just like, I don't know. I don't know, but like that's probably what's keeping Cole from honestly going in A tier for me. But I'm good with like B tier because the Siege, it kind of lost its luster after a couple go arounds, but the fight itself, when you get to like the master rank treatment, that fight, I know I had to grind it quite a bit as well, but it wasn't bad. Like it was fun to me. I didn't mind having to do that one over and over because I enjoyed it. Ooh, somebody that all right, Gold. All right, Gold, you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Now, all right, before I do this, Gold, I'm going to ask you guys in the chat. I'm going to ask you guys, where do you think Lunastra would be put? Where do you think Lunastra would be put? I'm going to ask you guys. Let's see what we got. Okay. Okay, wow. Oh boy, look at all this. So, Lunastra as a monster. Let's just talk design. I mean, it's very much similar to Teostra, how Lunastra's design alone is fantastic. I really do. I like her design, everything like that. I really, really like it. I love the color scheme. She's awesome. She's an awesome, awesome monster. But that Nova is annoying. The fight is annoying. You know, it's just the bomb is it just takes so much away from Lunastra. The flames and everything are so cool and everything like that, but it's one of those ones, yeah, exactly, NT. One of my points is like, she's not fun to farm. It's not fun. The flames are awesome, and like the whole wind pressure, all this. I don't know, man. It's just like I'm sorry, Gold. I'm sorry. I can't. Lunastra is just not my cup of tea. I'm sorry, man. I can't. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, even C tier, I feel like I'm being generous. But, like, her design is great. But it's just the fight itself. I don't enjoy it. And, like, it was another one of those monsters that I, like, actively was like, okay, I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight Lunastra. I want to avoid it at all cost. But that's the thing, is if we're talking about just how the monster looks, absolutely gorgeous, man. A fantastic looking monster. Now, okay. We are going to kind of get more into like the Iceborne monsters and whatnot. That's kind of how I was trying to do it. I probably, forgot here and there about like some monsters and whatnot that were in world, or, I probably didn't do it great. But I kind of wanted to try to do it somewhat along the lines of that. Actually, no. Well, I should probably do Shara first. Sorry. Shara Ishvalda. This one, I don't know. I don't know how people feel about Shara in general, but I know that myself, there is something that detracts from Shara. And I have to say, Shara, because there is something that definitely like really, really holds back Shara. No, I'm not going to put Shara in the F. I know you got no way I'm not going to put Shara in the F. A, baby. Solid A, by the way. Solid A. Shara is a very, very solid A. The thing that detracts from Shara is the rock beginning start, the beginning part of that fight. I get what they were trying to do and whatnot, but like, it's annoying. Like, it's really annoying. It's really, really annoying. The rock part when like Shara sheds off all that stuff. Like, I feel like, honestly, if they just would have put that as a cutscene, I would have been fine with that. You know, like, I really, really, really would have been okay if they just took away the rock part altogether. And honestly, that's probably the only thing that is keeping Shara from being an S tier to me, honestly. Like, and it's another one of those things, too, that the rock part, doing it the first time, it was kind of like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then when you have to do it again and again and again, it's just annoying. But, like, I don't know. As far as, let's get past the rock part and let's talk about Shara as a monster. Shara as a monster, after you get the rocks off and everything like that, is so phenomenal to me. I love the design that they did. I love how Shara just sits there and stares at you the whole time when Shara's eyes open and it just focuses on like you, the player, on the camera. I love, 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 love that. And all you guys talking about the rock part, yeah, it was easy. I just thought it was boring and tedious and just didn't need to be a thing. But after you get past the rocks, everything about Shara is just so cool. Such a cool design. The music, Penguin, yes, music's great. The sound, manipulating the sound waves and this, that, the sonic blast. I love it. I love, love, love Shara. And that rock part is probably the only thing that's keeping it from the S tier. The armor, weapons. This is how Xeno'jiiva, the weapons and armor, should have been done. He really, like, she, it, whatever Shara is, feel free to correct me, but Shara did everything right. Where you fight Shara, that whole sand arena thing, great. Design of the monster, great. Armor looks fantastic. Weapons, outstanding aesthetic. Everything about Shara is very, very, very good to me. And I feel like it's not like a unanimous thing, but I feel like a lot of people would agree that Shara was really solid. And especially if we're talking about just like, you know, a boss or anything like that. Shara is very good. Very, very good. Now, as I was saying before, we're going to be starting to get more into like the Iceborne monsters and stuff. No real like format that I'm trying to like stick to, but Beotodus, I think people are going to be more on the meh side with Beotodus, but I think Beotodus is definitely a B. I think that he is a B. And people like Gold, yeah, best Piscine, best fish. That's exactly, the design of Beo, I love it. The snow shark thing, how he interacts in Hoarfrost and everything, I absolutely love it. A lot of his weapons and stuff like that, I swear, it's just like the bone and stuff designs are really going to detract for a lot of monsters. But I mean, like, Beo as a monster, as the design of him, everything about him, I really, really like the monster design, his concept. And exactly, Christian, yes, that's a perfect way of putting it. Best Piscine Wyvern, but it really isn't saying much. But I just do like the way that he interacts in the Hoarfrost Reach and everything. Him being one of the first ones that we really actually came in contact with in Iceborne, I thought it was pretty solid. Yeah, so Beo's definitely going to get a B for me. Now, Banbaro, his armor, I really, really, really like the look of his armor. I think it's good. Banbaro himself, giant antler having monster. I love that he is as unique as he is. He just, like, in the fact that he was the, like, you know how, like, Basil was kind of like the air invader, Banbarrow's kind of like the land invader, and, you know, you take all of that into consideration, just even his attacks, picking up the tree limbs, and, like, depending on what area he's in, you know what I mean, like throwing molten rocks or snowballs, this and that. Banbarrow gets a very solid B. Banbarrow is a very, very solid B. Very solid B. I feel comfortable in putting him in the B category. He's, I don't know. He's really solid in the monster design. He's really cool when you fight him and stuff. Obviously, he's not hard. You know what I mean? It's still, I think, pretty fun as far as fights go, especially for like a low tier monster. All of the different attacks that he has, like the sweeping branch thing, throwing the rocks, slamming stuff down. Like, I feel like he has a lot to him. And then the invader status, I love it. I love it. I love the land invader status. He's like Basil's grounded brother and stuff like that as far as the invaders. I do. I really enjoy Banbarrow, and he's honestly one that, like, if he had some kind of like subspecies or something like that, I honestly would probably be pretty close to putting him like A tier, honestly. But he, okay, see, yeah, Lawless, that's a pretty good comparison as far as like their design and stuff, and like just how hulking they are and the way they move, like Duramboros. But Banbarrow's like a way better Duramboros. Next, this one I know for a fact that people are not going to agree with me on. Viper Tobi-Kadachi. Boom. I put him in A. I love Viper. I love Viper Tobi-Kadachi so much. The combination of paralysis and poison, I love Viper Tobi-Kadachi. Honestly, the color scheme pretty much works for me too. But the combination of poison and paralysis, that's enough for me to put it in the A category. And that's honestly why I kind of have Viper more like the B tier, almost C tier. Is because Viper Tobi-Kadachi is just so much more, it's so much better to me. Viper is so much better than Tobi to me. The addition of the poison and paralysis and like the challenge of the fight, I absolutely love Viper Tobi-Kadachi. Love him so much. I believe I used his gun lance for an extended period of time because it was one of the best long gun lances there for a little while. And wow, like I cannot say enough about Viper. And see, I was holding out, guys. Like when I put Tobi in the C tier and eventually bumped him up B, probably still belongs in C, but I don't know. It was because I was holding out for this. Viper is such a good monster. Very good. And that's the thing too. Is like it was just so crazy to run into that combination and just like not expecting it. I really do. I loved it. Nightshade F. Awful. And I love sleep monsters. I love it. But this, no. Nightshade's an F. Just annoying. And like Nightshade, as far as like invaders go, I was like, okay, with the invaders and stuff like Basil, it was cute in a sense. And you know, like how Banbarrow comes in and he invades. When Nightshade invades, I literally stop what monster I'm fighting. I will dung bomb the monster that I was actually hunting just so I can kill Nightshade. Anytime that he like comes around, he technically, yeah, I get it. Like, he technically isn't an invader, but, like, he shows up in a lot of fights that I have been in. Anything that he's, like, been in the area as well, he always finds his way over. And, like, no. I just can't. I can't. Listen, you guys are getting stuck on the whole invader thing. If they just come into your area, that's enough for me. It's not like he's an invader, but like when he bumps in on the quest, I don't. I really don't like anything about... He's a step down in my... In my mind, he's just like a step down. I feel like maybe they tried to make it a little bit more interesting, and the sleep status thing just wasn't... I don't think that was the move. The design, I think, is better. I like the colors and whatnot, but I don't know. I really don't like it. I really don't like it at all. Nightshade just seems like they... I don't want to say they, like, gave up or anything like that, or just kind of, like, stopped trying, but it's just... It doesn't seem like it did enough to really do it for me. Okay, and now this is going to be the one that is unbiasedly, like, or not unbiasedly, but very heavily biased. This is going to be one of my most biased picks. And you guys are... I know that there's not going to be anybody that even agrees with me. I know for a fact that there's not going to be anybody that agrees with me. But just the improvements that this monster made... the improvements that they made with this monster, this is how they need to be done. As far as, like, what is it? A subspecies, I believe, is what they're talking about. Coral Pukei, S tier. Coral Pukei, S tier. S tier. Okay, we have a lot more people that are agreeing with me than I expected. I didn't expect that. I really did not. I'm going to be honest, guys. I did not expect that at all. But this is exactly how they need to be done. The difference between Pukei and Coral Pukei, that's how they need to do that. That's how they need to do it, because that's what he is. Isn't he a subspecies? This is how they need to do subspecies. This is a glaring example. And, like, I'm talking about everything. The change up in the move set, and just, like, going completely from poison to water. The jets, his moves, the one where he flies up in the air and starts flinging the water around in a circle. Man. I was going to say, Ari, there's your S tier. If you're still in here, we need that fact bomb. But the design itself, like the color scheme, woo-hoo-hoo. They couldn't have done better. They literally could not have done better with Coral Pukei with his color design. And then you throw in the fact that he, like, just the way that he blends in with the Coral Highlands, the color, everything about it is just absolutely fantastic, man. And I think that's the main reason that he's going into S tier, is just because he is the pinnacle of what the example is and what you should do with subspecies. Oh my god, Ari. You didn't have to give me money. Yes, and that the tongue water spit, absolutely. It's absolutely fantastic. The moveset, beautiful. Design, beautiful. Love everything about it. And not to mention how I was talking about the bias in this pick, because there absolutely is. There's plenty of bias in this pick. But the fact that his hunting horn is so fantastic and such a good water horn, and it was like a diamond in the rough that you really had to, like, kind of mine out. Absolutely love Coral. Absolutely love Coral. S tier. You will not change my mind. Steadfast. Definitely S tier. Done. Done. Deal. No changing my mind whatsoever. Kuru-Pukei is the shining example of what you need to do with subspecies and how they should be treated in further games. Okay, now, Barioth. Barioth is Barry B. I love Barioth. I love his attacks. I love, honestly, all of these monsters like this, like Barioth, Nergigante, and stuff. They're definitely monsters that I really enjoy. But thank you, Echoes, by the way. This is why I'm subscribed to you. Sorry. But yeah, Barioth, Fang Beast, like, as cool as it gets. Like, and I say Fang Beast as far as like his like saber-tooth fangs. That's what I'm talking about. But like, he is so fun, so energetic, flying all over the place, and like just how he has that slight tweak into how he dives around and does his little slides and drifts and stuff. I love it. I really, really, really do love it. But, you know, just as a design in itself, Barioth is absolutely fantastic. Talking about his armor, too. His armor is really, really, really good. And not to mention, Barioth beat the shit out of me. I did not take him seriously. I wasn't ready for him. I was not ready for him. As soon as I got to him, he did. He beat my ass for a bit, and then, yeah. I would definitely feel confident with Barioth being B tier. The design, armor design, everything like that, it's very good. Very solid. And speaking of those kind of monsters, Nergigante is easily A. That Nergigante is solid A. Very solid A. Just an awesome monster, period. And everything about him, as far as his spikes, his tail whips, all kinds of stuff. His very, very, very good monster. Well designed, well thought out. Even just the look of him. Like, I was so excited when somebody... I can't remember who it was. And if you're in the chat, please, by all means, take credit. But I can't remember who just recently asked me to put that Narga emote in our Discord, but I was so happy when they did, because it is such a good emote, and it just shows like Narga being an absolute awesome monster. And when you talk about Narga's weapons, I kind of have to cheat on this one, because like I'm going to go back to Gen U for his weapon designs and stuff, because the Nergigante weapons, when they're made and designed the way that they're supposed to be, they look very good. They look very, very, very good. And even the armor itself is solid. So, I mean, it's just like, Nergigante is one of those ones that it's like, you really don't even have to explain that much. I know that I just gave a bunch of explanations, but yeah, like Nergigante is just one of those, when you ask anybody and they're just like, yeah, Nergigante is a really cool monster. So like, he's a solid A. Now, this boy, I even said it before that this boy was a standout for me. He was an absolute standout, and as soon as I fought him, I was just... I was amazed, because I had so much fun fighting him. I had so much just like excitement. I was on my toes at all times. He's aggressive. He can do all that. Like, he was a standout for me. And this boy gets an S tier. Glavenus is S tier for me, man. I love Glavenus. His fight, the first time that I fought Glavenus, it was so much fun. So much fun. He's honestly one of my favorite monsters in the series, period. And there's nothing that is like outlandishly unique about Glavenus, you know what I mean? As far as like his design and stuff, it's solid. It's a very solid design. But like, I feel like it's more so the fight with him. What gets him to S rank for me is the fight. I was a huge fan in Gen U, like getting to go back and play Gen U. The Fated 4 for me, love it. Love the Fated 4. Glavenus in the New World was an absolute standout for me. I loved Glavenus. His tail slams, like the first time that I got faked out with his double tail slam absolutely wiped me out. Because I was like, okay, all right, I got your tail slam. I got you. All right. Cool. And then he did the double tail slam. Absolutely sent me packing. Glavenus, the armor, the weapons, I think they all look good. Outside of the hunting horn, I'm going to be honest, not a huge fan of the Glavenus hunting horn, but, the other stuff didn't get the right treatment. But another one, if you go back to Gen U, very cool design. Love the armor, love the look. Glavenus is he's just very much an S tier monster. Everything about him is just S tier. Okay. Now, we are going to go with Mr. Tigrex. Tigrex, whichever way. Actually, how do you guys pronounce it? I want to know. I want to know what the chat, do you think Tigrex or Tigrex? What do you say? Tigrex or Tigrex? See, right off the bat, we had two. Boom, boom, boom. We had two right off the bat with T and Ty. Oh, God. I lost your comment, Ari. I lost the comment with everybody doing this. So it seems like we have a lot of Tigrex. I'm going to be honest. It seems like Tigrex is kind of like overwhelmingly. So I'm going to try and work on that. I'm going to try and work on that and say his name right. But, sorry. I will say that this is probably a one that I feel like I'm going to get a majority of people that kind of like agree with where I'm putting him. I put him at a B. Tigrex is not one that I like overly get excited about. I mean, like, his design and just his concept as a monster is very cool. I like it. I do like Tigrex. And as far as his fight goes, I know that his, like, crawl back and forth can be, like, really spammy and annoying and stuff, but I don't feel like it's to the point where it really detracts too much from Tigrex for me. And then, stuff like his little rock push, I like that. And what really keeps him at, like, B tier and doesn't take him down or anything like that, the roar. Tigrex has a really cool roar. Like, even base Tigrex, he has a very cool roar. Weapons are decent. His hunting horn, they absolutely wrecked it, but that's okay. Whatever. The weapons are all right. They look decent. You know what I mean? Like, nothing really that puts it over the top for me. So I feel like he's pretty solid B, but yeah, he's just one of those ones that it doesn't get to the point where he does enough for me to really throw him up that far. Now, this monster that we're going to. No, I'm talking about the stats, Prawn. Like, the stats as far as, like, the hunting horn and stuff. Bracky. This dude, I have said it before in different streams before. I've said it like plenty of times. Bracky was one that was just like my Achilles heel. I don't know what it was. I think it was just like, I don't know. I feel like his unorthodox movements and just the way that he sways and like they did very good as far as like even with his arm, his little swings and stuff, they feel front loaded. So it's like, I don't know. It's basically, long story short, I love Bracky. He is a very solid A. Bracky is a great monster. Great design, great concept. The blight, the slime is a really cool concept, and, you know, it's, like, unique to him, and, you know, he's not even, like, an Elder Dragon, this and that, and he's getting that really cool, unique treatment. And, I mean, just look at him. On his looks alone, he's solid. I am absolutely simping for Bracky, because he's a great monster. He really is. Everything from the slime to his actual concept and the weapons with the Blast Blight. I love weapons with Blast Blight and stuff. Like, they're cool. They're pretty solid. I can't believe they screwed his weapon designs and stuff. Like, it's awful. But if you go back to Gen U, all the weapon designs are pretty solid. So, I mean, I would definitely feel comfortable, solid, putting Bracky in the A category. And I mean, I don't think I would go as far as to say like I'm simping for him, but he's very solid. I wouldn't simp for him. There are monsters on here that I would simp for. Glavenus, I would simp for Glavenus. Shrieking Legiana, D. Shrieking Legiana is awful. Trash, garbage. I hate Shrieking Legiana. Hate Shrieking Legiana. Hated fighting it. Never wanted to fight it again. Luckily, there was nothing that I really even needed from Shrieking Legiana. The only thing that I like about it is that it's the same, you know what I mean, as far as like Legiana, how cool it looks. Yeah, I mean, I'm good with how cool it looks, but that's pretty much the only thing that's keeping it from being an F. Because Shrieking Legiana is just, it's just awful. It was bad. Everything about it was bad. The spam attacks, all of it, the flying around, all of it was just so bad, annoying, not a fun fight, couldn't stand it, did not go back to it in any way whatsoever unless I absolutely had to. And like I said, luckily, there was no reason that I actually had to. But, yeah, somebody was just saying down here, Jordan, you're right. The armor is cool. It's the same thing as like Legiana. I feel like the only one who likes Shrieking Legiana, Sumbro. Hey man, I get it, but it's more so just like the fight to me. I don't know if you're like strictly talking about that you like the monster itself, or if you're talking about the fight as well. But just for me, the fight just it really took it out for me. Right. Fulgur Anjanath. Now, as far as talking about subspecies, all this and whatnot, I feel like they did a very good job with Fulgur Anjanath as well. I think they did a solid job in making him different enough to the point where like he stood out from Anjanath, and I feel like the element that they chose for him is perfect. I think they did everything, just about everything right with Fulgur. Love, you're right. The roar, absolutely fantastic. They did so many things right with this boy. He is A tier, and I'm telling you, he's very high A tier. Not like borderline, but definitely solid A tier. They did so good with Fulgur Anjanath, and it's another subspecies that they should look to in further games or entries in the series. They need to look towards him, more so Kuro-Pukei, because they absolutely nailed it with him. But he's a good example too. They did very good with him. The electric firing off when he gets pissed off, like all of it's so good. The spit and snot. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. And his little spinning twirl screw attack. Love it all. I think Fulgur did good. And they did good with Fulgur. And then if you are not part of the Discord, join our Discord. Links in the description below. It'll take you right there. Our very own Sky Blue Brad did a digital art composition of Fulgur Anjanath, and it is gorgeous. And it shows just how amazing they did on the design of Fulgur. Very solid, very, very solid A for Fulgur Anjanath. Now, we come to this boy here. Acidic Glavenus. Okay, so we have Glavenus up there in the S tier, but Acidic Glavenus is dropping down to A. Acidic Lavinus is dropping down to A. This is one of the, I feel like, maybe rare occasions that, like, Acidic is like a downgrade. I don't think that they did as good as they did with, like, Fulgur Anjanath or, like, Pukei-Pukei. And then as far as, like, the meta of Acidic's Lavinus weapons and stuff like that, I don't see... I kind of disagree on that, Mudkip. I really think it wasn't a parallel change. I feel like it kind of regressed a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I just missed Glavinus himself, but, like, I don't know. I was not a huge fan of the weapons, the armor, this and that. Like, what it did to the meta and everything. The horn is literally, it looks like a piece of diarrhea poop on a stick. So, yeah, I don't know. Acidic Glavinus was not great. And then the fact that he was, like, how I said, like, Vaal Hazak and Odogaron in the Rotten Vale, they seem like a great fit. It didn't seem like the right fit for Acidic Glavinus. Like, to have the Rotten Vale Glavinus, it just didn't seem... It didn't seem like it was a good change in any way. Every aspect that you look at, as far as, like, their design, their attacks, this and that, just, like, how they interact and, like, you know, him cleaning off his tail blade and stuff and going with the bleed, it's like... It sounds cool on paper, but I don't know why. Maybe it's just me, but it's just like it didn't do it. It didn't do it for me. Now we come to Ebony Odogaron. And Odogaron, as you guys can see, very solid A for me, very high A for me. I also feel like, design-wise, I think Ebony Odogaron, I like the design better. I do think that as far as, like, the Dragon Blight and stuff, I don't think that was a great fit so much, even though I do like the red lightning crackle energy that they did with, like, Dragon Energy period or element. But yeah, he is very much an A. And to be honest, I think I still prefer regular Odogaron. I feel like they didn't do enough to really, like... They didn't do enough to change my mind to take Ebony up to an S, but they also didn't do anything enough to make me dislike it enough to put it in a B. But as far as he goes, and it's another one of those ones that I don't feel like his look and stuff like that has a great fit anywhere. I don't feel like he fits in, like, the Coral Highlands. He wouldn't fit in, like, the Rotten Vale, anything like that. I feel like there isn't a good spot for him. But everything that's good about Odogaron is also good about him. You know, the armor look, the weapons, stuff like that, they're good. And they look great. So he's pretty much, like, slightly lower than Odogaron for me. This is one that, like, if you ask people what they prefer between Ebony Odogaron and regular Odogaron, I would understand either way that they went. If they went Ebony, I'd understand. If they went regular Odogaron, I would understand that too. There's just not anything that's different enough for me to really say one way or another how he falls. Now, this one, I'm wondering if I might hold off, because I kind of had how I wanted to do it, but at the same time, I don't know if I should do it this early. Nah. I'll wait to do the one that I was gonna do. Now, we are at Seething Bazel. Seething Bazel, solid A, very high A, very high A. I wanted to go A, or I wanted to go S, but I'm just kidding. He's going S. Because, listen, they did every single thing that is great about Basil is still present. And then you take his, like, little bomb things that he throws off his scales and whatnot, and you literally, like, inject them with steroids. Yeah. This bad boy is an absolute S. Because you have the roar, you have everything about the regular Basil that you love, and then you take it and inject it with steroids. The fact that he is just like the radiating, like you can almost feel it when you look at him, like the radiating heat and stuff all the time. I love it. And then when he goes purple and those giant bombs start coming out, his little, not little by any means, but his nuke move where he drops all the bombs down and just comes crashing down. I love it. I love it. Because, like, you have the one where he kind of streaks back and forth and then crashes down. But having the actual, like, one where he spreads all the bombs, just flings them around like crazy and drops down, that is awesome. I very well could not put him in the A category. He was going S. He was going S. Because it's like how people were kind of talking about how they thought maybe acidic was an upgrade. I can't remember. I was looking in the chat and it looked like people were talking about that. But I feel like this is a literal direct upgrade. Ebony Odogaron, if anything, I feel like it was kind of parallel with everything that was done. Seething, I feel like it was literally a direct upgrade. And I really do. I enjoy Seething Basil very, very much. He's, even the fight and everything like that, he's very fun. Like, he's a very, very fun monster to fight. And, I mean, like, you know, I know that there's nothing, like, too crazy unique about him. But just when you take in everything into consideration, his armor, his roar, all of that stuff, he's definitely S. He's definitely S. No seething fact, but Basil is shaped like an actual airplane. Specifically a type of bomber. I forget, not a military Girro. Okay. Listen, I promise, Ari, you don't have to keep giving money if you don't have a fact. I promise you don't have to. I did, yes, B-52 bomber. There you go. Nailed it. So, now we come to Velkhana. Now, I want you guys to know Velkhana. I'm going to let you guys decide how we rank Velkhana. Are we doing Velkhana? Or are we doing Arc-Tempered Velkhana? We need to suss that out first, and then I can give my ranking. Are we doing regular Velkhana or are we doing Arc-Tempered? Arc-Tempered? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of Arc-Tempered. Okay. Alright, so we're doing Arc-Tempered. We're going to be doing that. Arc-Tempered Velkhana is easily an S tier. Arc-Tempered Velkhana is by far an S tier. Arc-Tempered is very much an S tier. If we were doing normal, though, I would probably put Velkhana in like an A tier. Arc-Tempered Velkhana is what Velkhana should have been in the first place. Because don't get me wrong, I did enjoy Velkhana prior to the Arc-Tempered fight, but I think Arc-Tempered is S. Regular would probably have been A for me. Still a very cool monster. The design of Velkhana is absolutely fantastic. They nailed it. And like I said, I really like ice monsters and stuff. So Velkhana, very, very good. NCH Productions has a great video on him. Cool. I feel like I'm picking the worst S tier monsters for Ari to come up with facts. But yeah, as far as like the challenge of the fight too, when I first fought Velkhana, I don't think it was, enough to put it like into S tier as well. But yeah, Arc-Tempered Velkhana, 100% S tier. Arc-Tempered Velkhana was honestly one of my favorite fights in Monster Hunter period. I really enjoy it. I really, really enjoy the fight. I enjoy the design of the monster itself. Very good all around. Let's go with Black Vaal. Black Vaal Hazak. Black Vaal Hazak. Wait, what? Oh no, Rory, no! Rory, no! No. Listen, Rory, I got flack for Kulu being in the B tier, man. I got flack for B tier. Listen, brother, thank you so much for stopping by. Literally, I am starstruck moment, guys, dude. Rory, you are one of the reasons why I do Monster Hunter content, bro. Thank you for stopping by. Holy crap, man. Boom. There. Boom. Bro. Kulu he deserves an S tier for that. Boom. S tier, dog. S tier. No, but listen, okay, in all seriousness, Rory, I get it. Because I do. I love his aesthetic. I love the personality to Kulu. And even though he is like one of the first monsters, that's what I was saying, man. Like, that rock smash, getting that insta stun, absolutely gets an automatic B tier for me. Well, now that we just had this starstruck moment, oh my, that is just awesome. We are on Black Vaal Hazak. Black Vaal for me is definitely one of the ones that I feel it was more of a sidestep. More of a sidestep than anything. Because honestly, between the two of them, it just seems like I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's one of those things that I don't feel like enough changed to where I would take it up to an S tier, and I don't feel like enough changed to where I would take it down to a B tier. It's the same things as Vaal Hazak, like the design, the roar, everything like that is very good. Love it. Love the design, the decaying monster. It's great. I love the design of it and everything, and having to put on effluvia resistance, I know that I was talking about before, people were probably kind of like whining and crying about that, but I didn't really care to have to do that. You want to know why I didn't have to worry about doing that? Because I was a hunting horn player, and us hunting horn players do not have to worry about those ailments because we are the shit. So maybe that's why I have him higher than people, because I don't have to. Yeah, Rory! Doot, baby! Hell yeah. But that's what I mean. That's one of the reasons that I absolutely love Hunting Horn anyways, is the fact that you can just like completely nullify monsters. But in saying that, Black Vaal, I still very much would put him in the A category. And it's not really anything there wasn't anything enough to like detract or add to it to where I would change it from Vaal. Namielle is one that the aesthetic of Namielle and just her design and everything is fantastic. Design alone, honestly, borderline S tier, as far as like they did a very good job for me. I love Namielle's look, the fight itself, and just like the waves and everything. It's so good. And I literally, one of the Monster Hunter moments, because I mean, you guys know I am newer to the series and everything, but I know for a fact, and I'm going to stick with the series till they absolutely end it, which they won't. But one thing that I'm always going to remember till the end of time, that introduction of Namielle, that black and then her wings coming up in the lights, unbelievable. Loved it. will never forget it. One of my favorite cutscenes, one of my favorite anythings in Monster Hunter was that introduction. Namiel, easy put it in the A for sure. A for sure. And honestly, like if I'm really being honest, the cutscene alone really would have saved Namiel from anything. Even if the fight was bad or anything like that, Namiel just would have won an A. Period. But like as far as the fight goes, I don't think it's like super fun enough for me to be like, okay, S tier. But yeah, I mean, like the cutscene, her look, design, everything makes me super happy that you're new to the series. And I saw you playing GU the other day. Lots of newcomers don't give GU the time of day. Dude, absolutely. And by the way, Rory, if you ever have time, we are going to be doing a Gen U tier list as well. So if you want to stop by for that, by all means. Hell, if you want to join in, by all means. I would be down for that. We can do a dual list or something. But yeah, I am loving the series. Going to continue to love the series. And yeah, make sure you stop by for the Gen U tier list, because I'm definitely going to do that. Okay, so we did Namiel, and now it is time for Savage Deviljho. I am curious to think, where do you guys think that I'm going to put Savage Deviljho? I'm very curious to hear where you think that's going to go. It does sound like an all-day affair, but if you're down for it, man, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for sure. So if you feel up to it, by all means, man, you let me know. Okay, I'm seeing an S or A, S, B, A, S, B, B. Yeah. Yep. S. Love Savage Deviljho. Absolutely love Savage Deviljho. He is also one that I think that they took Deviljho, straight up upgraded it, and made it such a blast. Made it so much fun. Deviljho itself, like I said, in Gen U, I was not so much a fan of Deviljho, but listen, man, Savage Deviljho, some of the most fun that I've had in Iceborne was fighting Savage Deviljho, because he is one of the ones that to the point of where it's so challenging that you love it. It's not unfair challenging. It's not, his design, absolutely outstanding. Even in Gen U, like I love how his red glowy eyes with the smoke and stuff. I love that. But in the new world, he looks fantastic. The female armor is a JoJo reference. Thank you, Ari. I feel like you actually got to throw out a solid fact this time. Thank you. But yeah, Savage Deviljho. Of course, you guys know how I feel about his horn. I mean, excuse me. With the secrets that we have and stuff now, I mean, it's definitely more manageable and whatnot. But as far as his horn, I feel like they did not do it the justice that it deserved in Iceborne. So that was a bit of a detractor for me. But everything about this monster is so good. The Savage Pickle is very fun. And I see some of you guys talking about, you feel like it was an annoying challenge. It was like that kind, but I really don't. I don't think that it was annoying. I feel like they did a really good job of kind of like balancing things out as far as that. And yeah, I would say Savage is pretty solid S. Now, this next one, it's back-to-back S's. I'm going to tell you guys that right now. I mean, you guys see who all is left, but this is absolutely going to be an S. And, doing it back-to-back, whatever. It is what it is. But Ruiner Nergigante, you guys know how I feel about him. I start literally every single Iceborne stream that I have with an Ode to Destruction, just because I love fighting Ruiner Nergigante so much, it's unreal. And if we're talking about the design of a monster, I mean, it shares a lot of the similarities with like Nergigante and whatnot with the design as far as the monster. You know, it's very subtle type changes as far as color and this and that, but I do it for the stream stones. Listen, whatever reasoning, that's the thing, is that I feel like I don't even need a reason. If they would give you literally a lump of coal for beating Ruiner Nergigante and doing the Ode of Destruction event quest, I would still start every single one of my streams with the Ruiner Nergigante. He is fun, hits like a truck. He was a challenge prior to, you know, us getting this Fatalis superpowered gear and like even the end game gear and whatnot. More challenging then, obviously, and now it's not as bad. But even if you can, like, even if you can do the hunt well and like get rid of him in no time, it's still fun every single time. And that's how you do a monster. Ruiner Nergigante is also, it's the epitome of how you do a monster. Like, if you, epitome, why did I say that? But it's exactly how you need to do a monster. And Ari hits us with the fact it reproduces asexually. A fallen spike can grow into a full Nergigante. A Ruiner Nergigante grows spikes faster as they get stronger each break. Listen, honestly, what more could you say about Ruiner Nergigante? I'm curious, what's your main weapon? My main weapon is Hunting Horn, by far. By far. That's what I did most of World with. It's what I did like all of Iceborne with. But you'll be happy to know, Roricon, and other people tell you this too, I very much love the Gunlance. If I had to pick it, it would kind of be like a 1A, 1B situation. But I am very, very much a long Gunlance lover. I can't remember. I feel like I've watched before as far as which shelling type you like the most, but I very much am a long Gunlance lover. That would probably be second in line. But I do have to say, Hunting Horn is definitely my main. Definitely my main. I love buffing other people, all of that. If you were a longsword main, I would have to leave. Listen, you will be happy to know that I am very much the opposite of that. Longsword is one of the weapons that is at the bottom of my usage. Very, very, very much one of the bottom. I just can't do longsword. It just doesn't feel fun to me. I understand why it's fun to other people, but as far as longsword goes, I can't do it. I really can't do it. And now we move on to Zinogre. A. Easy. A. There's no way that he would be anything less than an A. I feel like he's one of those monsters that I would be shocked if anybody really has, like, if anybody would have Zinogre under a B. I would be very surprised if I saw a list that had, like, Zinogre at, like, a C, a D, or an F. I would be very shocked. You know what I mean? He's another one of those ones that you just, I mean, he's a thunder wolf. Like, what more could you want? And the design, everything about him, even the thunder element works so perfect with him. And I honestly feel like he's kind of like a solid fit. Like, he's a thunder wolf and stuff, but I really like how he fits in, like, the Coral Highlands. I don't know why, because it really shouldn't. I don't feel like it should fit, but I do. I like seeing him walking around in there. It doesn't feel wrong. You know, even when, like, doing the guiding lands and stuff, it doesn't feel wrong. But, yeah, Zinogre, the design's awesome. The monster's awesome. The armor always looks sweet. Especially, like, I don't know why, but it feels like in Gen U it looks even cooler. I have no idea why, but it just feels like in Gen U it looks even cooler. And it looks great in World Iceborne. The one thing that I will say, his roar, I think that they took his roar from Gen U that sounded like thunderous and almost had like a little bit of a metallic wolf feel to it. I don't like the New World roar. I feel like it sounds too much like a wolf's howl. It doesn't have enough sprinkled in there for me. I like the thunderous howl of Gen U. I really think that his old roar is better. That might be something that people don't agree with. We can all agree that he's awesome and like easily A tier. But as far as the roar, I wish they would have kept it, honestly. Because like even with Furious, you can kind of hear the old crackly roar from Gen U. If you listen like at the end, you can actually hear that. And I don't understand why they wouldn't do something similar for Zinogre. Because, I mean, why not? Like, why wouldn't you do that? Okay. Now, let's go ahead and do... Before we do Stygian, we're going to go ahead and do Yian Garuga. I have Yian Garuga at a B. I really do. I've Yian Garuga at a B. And this is one of those monsters that his roar is probably the top reason that I would love Yian Garuga. Yian Garuga has the sweet roar and even like it's almost iconic for me now. His roar and flatback at the same time. I love that so much. I really do. I like it a lot. Garuga, I feel like, is B tier for me because there's just not... I don't know if there's enough just yet. I don't know if there's enough just yet for me to put him like in the high up A or S tier. I don't know if there's enough for me to do that yet. But I want to follow that up, with Scarred Yian Garuga. I would put, and this is probably going to be something that people don't agree with either, putting him above Yian Garuga. Literally, all it took with Scarred Yian Garuga was that fireball volley from the sky, that aerial volley from the sky with those fireballs. That's all it took for me to really put him up to an A. And it's solid. It's solid A. It is very much a solid A. And that's what I mean, though, is like Yian Garuga was like right on the cusp for me. And then you throw in that volley, and honestly, that in itself is enough for me to put him up to A. I even do feel like they would have done more with Scarred Yian Garuga, but honestly, that attack and everything for me, that pretty much was enough for me to throw him up into the A tier. Okay, so let's do Silver Rathalos. C. I can't. I can't put him up much higher. I can't put Silver Rathalos up there. I really, really can't. I don't think I would go as far as putting him in the F tier. What is saving Silver Rathalos is his design. His design is awesome. Like the color and everything like that. No. I just really can't. The flying up all the time, it's just like, I don't know if they don't understand that people are not, they don't enjoy the Rathalos flying up in the air stuff, but like they went with Azure and like quadrupled down on it. And then I will say, yes, that like Silver Rathalos is an upgrade from Gen U Silver Rathalos, but it's just like, he's still up in the air way too much. Like, it's just too annoying for me. And that's a good point. Alpha, like in the Hellfire mode, looks fantastic. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. But Silver Rathalos, no. I can't do it, buddy. Can't do it. C tier for me. Gold Rathian. Feel like people are going to be a little upset with me on this one. But Gold Rathi, definitely a lot better than Silver Rathalos. Gold Rathian is way, way better than Silver Rathalos, at least in my opinion. I mean, the whole spin attacks and this and that, I really don't mind those as much as Silver Rathalos, and just the challenge of Gold Rathian I'm putting A. A. I would definitely say A. I don't think that I could go S tier just because that spinning attack is a little bit too spammy for me, but the challenge of the fight is fantastic. Did y'all not notice me threatening Hanny? Why are you threatening me for what? Was it one of my takes, or was Arc just being Arc? But yeah, Gold Rathian, I would have to say A tier for the look as well. Gold Rathian in Iceborne, especially when I got to play on PC and everything, looks absolutely gorgeous. Such a great design. Gold, I mean, how could you not like that color scheme and everything? Like, Gold Rathian for me was an A. Solid fight to me. A little bit too spammy with like the whole spin and fly. I feel like it might have done that a little bit too much. But as far as like even Gen U, I feel like they kind of did better with Gold Rathian, bringing it into the new world. I feel like it's pretty solid. But yeah, definitely there. Rajang, very easy A tier. Very easy. Very easy A tier. I love Rajang. I love him. I love the idea of him. And like, we're in this world where you have like the dragons, you have T-Rexes, you have all these crazy big black elder dragons, this and that. And one of the strongest monsters is a monkey. That alone is just so awesome. All of these monsters and crazy spewing water out, explosions thrown all over the place, fire tail, dragon, T-Rex looking thing. That monkey is absolutely insane. Can't reveal my thoughts on Rajang. Oh, okay. So keep an eye out for that, people. Roricon got something going on in his next video with the old monkey boy. I see. Yes, very solid monster. His armor looks absolutely awesome. I love it. I love the aesthetic of it, and his fight alone is challenging, punishing, and that's what I look for in a fight. It's fun. Anytime that I have to go back to fight him, I look forward to it. I really do. Like, I don't stray away from him or anything like I would with like a Lenostra. I love fighting Rajang. And that's the long and short of it, honestly. Now, we are going with Raging Bracky. Raging Bracky, to me, there are so many things that I do like about Raging Bracky. Let's just get it over with. S tier. Easy. This is one of the ones that I feel like a lot of people are going to agree with, because nobody is going to forget his fight. Absolutely nobody is going to play Worldborn, Iceborne, World, whatever you want to call it. Nobody is going to play it and forget that Raging Bracky fight. When he takes you into that arena, that section of the Elder Recess, and like starts pounding on the ground and the lava is shooting up, I wish that I could just watch that on repeat, just get something to fall asleep to that every single night, so that I can fall asleep in a happy mood with a smile on my face, because that was one of the greatest things that I have ever seen in a game, period. I'm not even just talking about Monster Hunter. The feeling, like, I don't want to sound like a super nerd, like getting crazy about something in a video game, but guys, the feeling that I got from watching that take place was just so awesome. And even the fight before that, it's fun and punishing, challenging. He keeps you on your toes, but that last part is awesome. It's so much fun, so much fun. The weapons are so dope. They were really good, really good. Armor, fantastic. Everything about Raging Bracky is very much S tier. And see, now, This is where, when we get to the end game, it's where things get very good, honestly. It's where things get really good. Furious Rajang, S tier. There is no question. Furious Rajang is one of those ones. It's exactly what I said before with like Ruiner Nergigante. It's the same thing with Bracky and Raging Bracky. It's the same thing with Deviljho and Savage. Same thing with Basil and Seething. Furious Rajang is solid S. Solid S for me. I love Super Saiyan Monkey. Oh, no way, Rory. No. Oh, no. S tier for me for sure. It's another one of those ones that I do not stray from his fight. I look forward to fighting him. And, the hyperactive fight, it's like a Mack truck coming at you 24/7. I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it. Love how precise you have to be with your strikes. You have to take those windows to punish him. Very good, in my opinion. Love it. Love the fight. The weapons, obviously 99% of the time that's going to be a direct upgrade. But, like, this boy, I love fighting him. Even the tempered version, I do it on stream all the time when I'm doing chill hunts with you guys. Love it. I very much love it. And see, that's the thing, is that I do. I feel like people are going to disagree. But in my opinion, absolutely going to put him S tier. Frostfang Barioth. Frostfang Barioth is something that I would say definitely is very similar to, and it's funny because they're both ice monsters, but it's very much akin to what I was talking about with Alatreon. Alatreon, to me, or not Alatreon, sorry, I'm just looking at Ark's comment, but it's very much like Velkhana. Velkhana, to me, when it went Arc Tempered, that's what Velkhana should have been. For me, Frostfang Barioth is what Barioth should have been. A tier, very solid. Oni, I'm sorry, bud, but it's A tier. Very, very good. Very good. And it is high. It is high A tier. I can't say that he's an S tier, but the addition that the things that they did to upgrade him from Barioth were very good. I promise. Getting stuck in the ice absolutely annoys the crap out of me, but it is a great upgrade. I love fighting him. He's another one that I do anytime we do the chill hunts. I always fight Frostfang because the fight itself, very much like Barioth, is super fun. Super, super fun. All the Ice Blast additions that you get with Frostfang are solid. Love it. But I mean, he's one that also, in comparison to these S tier fights, like obviously, like Pukei is S tier because of different reasons. But with like these guys, Raging Bracky, Furious, Ruiner, Savage, even Arc Tempered, Velkhana, these guys' fights, those are S tier fights. And like putting him up with them just didn't feel right with the changes that they did. It was enough to push him up to A tier. His armor looks great. The weapons look extremely great. Like, I know that they're pretty much just like a color swap type deal, a little bit hairier and furrier too, but it was enough. Those weapons look gorgeous. They seriously look really good. Okay. So, now, I feel like this is another one. Xeno'jiiva. Xeno'jiiva. So, we have Xeno'jiiva sitting here at C. We have Xeno'jiiva here. Now, we're taking into consideration all of the different things like what his weapons and armor did to the game, the impact that they had on it. I mean, just what the armor could do and the concepts behind it. We're looking at all that stuff. the awakening system, it's all in totality. We have a red dragon. For me, his design is a little too meh, a little too bland, a little too safe, a little too boring. But I would probably still have to, including the fight and everything, I'd probably have to put him at a B. I don't hate the Xeno'jiiva fight. The meta was it was a bit annoying. Just the way that Safi swallowed the entire game with like the armor, the fights, and stuff like that. His design is kind of basic, but it's just like, excuse me. All of it in totality, it just seems like it's not enough to make me hate him. It's not enough to make me love him. And that's kind of why he ends up in the B category. If anything, I feel like he would be closer to a C, mainly because of the meta, mainly because of the weapons and the armor and stuff like that. I just don't like how Safi came in and just absolutely, it literally swallowed the game whole. Like, it became Safi Hunter and then, the other monsters. I did not like that. So, I mean, B, I feel like might even be a little bit too generous, but he's very borderline BC. Stygian's an ogre. Stygian is in S tier. He is very, 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 very awesome. The dragon element for me, I think, really pushed it over. Normal 7, baby. Yeah. Stygian for me, the dragon element, I love how dragon element looks, like the red lightning type deal that they do with that. I really like that. I know it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it's not like boring, but it's pretty, I don't know. It's not like over the top, but I enjoy it. And then Stygian, his attacks, the changes that they made, definitely for me where, some like the pink Rathian, it feels like a side upgrade. With him, it feels like everything was pretty much like a direct upgrade. It feels very much like Xen'ogre. It feels exactly like a Xen'ogre, but it feels more powerful. It really, really, really feels powerful. And like the lightning attacks, stuff like that, his corkscrew, all of it, I feel like it was definitely enough because Xen'ogre himself is very close for me as far as like borderline A and S. And I feel like Stygian has enough of those changes to where it takes him up to an S. The hunting horn, I absolutely love. I love the hunting horn. Like, I do love how Xen'ogre's was kind of, I don't know, like I like how it was kind of like an electric guitar and that whole aesthetic. But then Stygian Xen'ogre comes out and it's a black and red thunder guitar, and I was just in love. I was absolutely in love. And he was a good enough fight and a good enough challenge to where he just rocked it. Stygian Xen'ogre absolutely rocked it. Oh boy. Damn, thank you, Ari. My favorite monster. I have 2 figures and a plushie and a shirt, working on a cosplay, and one of director Ryozo's favorite monsters. The dragon element makes him able to withstand extreme cold and heat. Thank you for the fact. Thank you for the donation. And please, by all means, when you get done with that cosplay, make sure you share it in the Discord. Because, man, that would look dope. And it seems like it would be one that would take a really long time. So any kind of exposure that we can get for you, that would be so cool. Thank you again, Ari. I appreciate that. But yeah, Stygian Xen'ogre, easy for me, baby. Easy, easy, easy. Easy peasy. He's an S all the way. Brute Tigrex. Now, we have Tigrex right here at B. And we have Brute Tigrex. Came in pretty late to the game, and as far as his introduction, I feel like they could have done much better in like introducing him And it hit the weapons, the Brute Tigrex weapons, the Tigrex weapons, me being a Hunting Horn main, it just it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. But I would absolutely have to say A tier. And why I would say A tier is because very much just like, very much leaves a bad taste in my eardrums. I would have to say every single thing about Tigrex is kind of like, I don't know. I can't even really so much say that it's like so much improved on. I feel like the fight is pretty similar, but the biggest improvements that was made with Brute Tigrex is that his roar, for me, is so awesome. I absolutely love his roar. How it sounds in comparison to Tigrex, I love his roar. And I know that that's probably a take that people don't agree with. They probably prefer the regular Tigrex roar. Brute Tigrex, for me, that roar is unbelievably awesome. I love harnessing like that sound wave and using that to blast hunters. I love it. I love that, and I love the improvements that they made. Definitely wasn't enough to like take it up to an S tier, but on the roar alone, honestly, that would have taken him up to an A. But yeah, honestly, it's like A tier. It's a good thing you like it because you'll listen to it the whole fight. And that's the truth. Listen, what I'm probably going to end up doing after this tier list, I'm just going to have Brute Tigrex's roar on repeat and just throw some headphones in and just call it a day. Okay, let me see. Now we come to Alatreon. Alatreon. Oh boy. What are you guys thinking? What are you guys thinking as far as Alatreon? Because I am steadfast. I am very much steadfast in what I think and where I think he should be ranked. Easy for me. I don't know how anybody else feels about it. If you have to take in the totality of the monster, the fight, everything like that. For me, it's easy. Like I don't understand how people don't realize how easy it is, but it's just like they don't see what I see. Maybe, maybe that's the thing. He's just like, guys, come on, guys. Hell yeah, I'm trolling. Alatreon was an absolute blast. How did you not love Alatreon's fight? How did you not love Alatreon's fight? If you don't think that he's an S tier, or you don't think that he's like, at the very least, if you put him in an A tier, first off, you're wrong. Objectively, you're wrong. Subjectively, you're wrong. But listen, Alatreon is an S tier fight, hands down. And listen, I know that the whole using the specific element thing, like, I don't know. It caught me off guard, maybe, but it's just like, you have to get over that. You really do, because you're losing out on one of the best fights. One of the best fights, easily. I just don't understand what people didn't like about Alatreon. The moves looked gorgeous. Whether it's the lightning, ice, fire, dragon, doesn't matter. Everything looked fantastic in that fight. Focusing on the head and everything, maybe it's just because I'm a Hunting Horn main, didn't seem like that much of a problem for me. And honestly, like, I do feel, as far as me, like, you guys know, I played Long Gun Lance a lot in Iceborne because I love it. So in that sense, yeah, it kind of sucked that I didn't get to like really take him on in a normal fashion like that. But see, exactly, Rory, that is exactly what I was about to say. Rory slapsticked it. So, like, there is absolutely no excuse, okay? If you hate that element mechanic, then beat the crap out of him before you even have to worry about that stuff. He is such a fun fight, and the fact that people avoid Alatreon or just like don't fight Alatreon over and over again, I don't understand it, and I never will. Even his set bonuses and stuff, I love those too. The look of the armor is beautiful. The weapons, so good. I love it, man. I love it. Alatreon, I feel like they probably could not have done better with the Alatreon fight. And he's one of the ones that I actually feel like in Gen U, he actually got upgraded as far as his like his fight in general. I feel like in Gen U, they straight up upgraded it into the new world, and it's something unlike anything that I ever fought, and I loved it. And yes, Neko, cutscene, god tier cutscene, god tier cutscene. And now it all comes down to this. Fatalis. What? Same thing with Alatreon. What do you guys think as far as Fatalis? I'm very curious to hear about this. Drop Fatty in the D tier and instantly end the stream, Neko. God tier. God tier. What are we thinking? Okay, what are we thinking? Yep. Listen, I respect Fatalis so much that I'm not even going to troll like I'm going to put him in a lower tier. I'm not even going to let him touch any of the lower tiers. I'm going to go all the way around and come all the way up here and drop him into the S tier. If I actually cared to make new tiers, I probably should have. Honestly, he is quadruple S tier. He is quintuple S tier. The Fatalis fight is unbelievably good. So good. I don't know how anybody would even want to fight anything else at this point, because it's hard not to want to fight. It takes everything in me in my streams not to fight him the entire time. And that's the main reason that I don't, is because I feel like I thought that most people were like tired of him. But after seeing this and seeing all of you guys throw up these S's, I'm definitely going to be doing more Fatalis in the chill hunts. I mean, they're supposed to be chill, and there's absolutely nothing chill about Fatalis. But yeah, I'm going to be doing him a lot more in the chill hunt streams because he's just so much fun. He is so much fun. Holy crap, Neko. Hunters charge $60 to beat Fatty for you. How is that not in S tier? Which, sidebar for a quick second, I have seen those things to where there are people trying to sell, like people running you through fights and stuff. Please do not ever, and I mean ever do that. Do not buy a run through anything. It takes away so much of the experience of what Monster Hunter is. It strips it completely, takes everything away. Why would you want to do that? We have a Discord. Like I said, description, links there. Click, it'll take you right there. We have so many people that will be happy to fight Fatalis with you and teach you how to fight him. That, seriously, I've seen those things popping up and it's disgusting. Like, it makes me sick because Monster Hunter is such a good game and that is taking everything out of it. And it's bad. It's bad. Don't do stuff like that. But back to the almighty dragon that is Fatalis. I saw earlier, Rory, I saw you say how Gen U Fatalis can get out. I agree 800%. He's another one like Alatreon that I think from Gen U to Iceborne, the fight, they upgraded to the absolute max. the fight in Gen U to me it's one of those ones that I'm just like, I try to avoid it unless like Crimson Fatalis, I do have to do that for like the Insect Glaive and like the Hammer, but as far as like fighting Fatalis in Gen U, I avoid it. The world versions of Alatreon and Fatalis are substantially better in my opinion. Curious as to why you put Behemoth so low. I just did not like what the armor did for the meta. I did not enjoy the fight and just how different it was as far as like, I don't know. I guess more so like the mechanics of the fight. I was not a fan of it, and it might be a more personal bias ranking on my end. And then Extremoth, I didn't enjoy that fight either. I was telling everybody earlier in the stream that I kind of did Extremoth mainly because of everybody talking about like how hard it was, and for me it didn't feel like a Fatalis challenge to where it felt fair, just like hard hitting this and that. This one, it felt like the difficulty was just more forced, and with Alatreon and Fatty, it doesn't seem like the difficulty there is like forced. But as far as Extremoth, maybe it's more so I just didn't enjoy the fight. Maybe that's why it was so low. But yeah, I just did not like Extremoth at all. That was not fun to me. Oh wow, Raditz, Fatty, best boy. Thank you, dude. To me, I prefer hunting Fatalis because Fatalis is just a true test of being a hunter. Casual or speedrunners alike, Alatreon is okay, but Fatalis provides a meaning of what Monster Hunter World is. I mean, I get it, Rusties, but like Alatreon to me was an S tier fight as well. Absolutely fantastic. Behemoth is about raid mechanics. Since I was a raider, I was biased there. Okay, and see, that's the thing is that I know, Rory, that you have played Final Fantasy 14, and that is one of the few MMOs that I like really dove into. And it's funny because I love Behemoth in Final Fantasy. Anytime that I fought Behemoth in Final Fantasy, I always enjoy it. But for me in Monster Hunter, it was I don't know, it just felt out of place a bit, and that's even coming from me. I do love things like MMOs with like the holy trinity of like tank, healer, and DPS, but as far as having it in like Monster Hunter, I was not a huge fan of that, so that's kind of why he was so low. But yeah, I mean, as far as Fatalis, it's definitely awesome. It's definitely awesome. S tier, no question whatsoever. And then even with Alatreon, I feel like I'm steadfast in that as well. Those two are very much to me a shining example of what Monster Hunter is at its end game and at its peak. That's where you can get some of the most enjoyment. Raging Bracky was pretty close, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I feel like these guys, it's just beyond S tier at this point. But yeah, so there it is. There's the tiers. I felt like doing this one live would probably be a little bit better for us as far as like, you know, just doing all of them at once and everything. So I mean, like, I do enjoy you guys coming out and hanging out for all of this because it's been quite a while. I feel like it's been like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Yeah. So yeah, I think you might be right, Rory, as far as the Gen U one might have to be broken up into a couple parts. I'd probably still do it live, but yeah, that one might have to be broken up into multiple parts. And I've kind of been babbling, so maybe that's the point that it took to... Okay, yeah. See, yeah, believe me, I get it. I get it. But yeah, if you have not, Rory actually has a video up of the first part of his world list, I do believe. And yeah, if you want to check that out, by all means, go do it. And then we're going to hang out for the second part. Rory, thank you so much, brother, for joining in. It seriously has been a starstruck moment. I know that you're one of the most humble dudes there are. And, you know, you're saying you're just another guy. But you did, my man. You are very much, you and Gaijin are two of the peak people that got me into making Monster Hunter content in the first place. So, again, my man, thank you so much for coming out. And everybody else in the chat, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. It has been such a blast. And yeah, Gen U is going to be coming. Probably going to be a two-parter, so stay tuned for that. I've been playing For You, so be expecting some For You content to come out as well. And if I can get it to the point where it's streamable, I'm going to be doing that as well. So thank you again, guys. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for keeping up such an awesome conversation and sticking with me through the end. And I will see you guys in the next stream.